If you're good at sales and marketing, but you're still broke, please watch this video. Hey, my name is Lockie Pure. I built one of my businesses to $1 million a month, and I've owned a variety of businesses at each different level. And one of the biggest mistakes, maybe the biggest mistake I've made in my career, is developing a master skill set around sales and digital marketing, but not applying it to a business that can actually make me a lot of money. And this is like a public service announcement to the young man or woman, or older man or woman watching this video right now and speaking to my younger self. When I got into digital marketing, like a lot of people, I just wanted to make money. I didn't give a shit about anything else. I was dead broke, and I was Googling how to make passive income on YouTube and getting hit with all the different business ideas. I was getting hit with Shopify drop shipping. I was getting hit with eBay, Amazon FBA, and this is like truly before AI kind of existed, right? I've been in this game 10 years now. I turned 28 today, actually, and I started when I was 18. So I wanted to make this video because for the last 10 years, I have gotten really good at phone sales, training sales teams, and digital marketing, creating ads, creating funnels, creating webinars, creating VSLs. And that is what everyone on YouTube tells you to get good at and glorifies. And it's a really important skill set. However, I want to kind of tell you a story as to why it's one of the important skill sets, but that'll only get you so far in this game of business. And if your goal is to make 100K a month, 20K a month, 50K a month or more, live wherever you want in the world, make millions of dollars a year, this is super, super relevant for you, especially if you're an aspiring entrepreneur or you're already in the game of entrepreneurship. So when my first ever 9 to 5 job was a cold calling job at a marketing agency in Australia, selling yellow page ads to tradies. So for about 1.5 years, I got really good, and I went full, and I'm going to do another video soon on cold calling secrets and tips. So subscribe, don't miss that. And I got really good at direct sales over the phone. While I was doing that, I was trying to run dropshipping ads in the background outside of my 9 to 5 to try to escape the 9 to 5 and get to the glorious $100 a day. In my last video, you can see I made almost $70,000 in a single day. So I've passed that, and it's thanks to what I'm about to teach you in this video. Okay. So I then went and got a job at a digital marketing agency because I'm like, okay, I want to get paid by someone else to run ads for their clients. So I could learn how to do Facebook ads and the digital marketing side because I got pretty good at the sales side and get paid to do it and paid to learn, which is a really smart idea. And I got a job at a digital marketing agency, got mentored by the founder there for again about 1.5 years. So now I have the skills of sales and of marketing, okay? Really powerful skill set. Those are basically the true skills you need to make money online. Now you can learn just sales and get a remote high ticket sales job, which is a phenomenal starting point. But if you want to own your own business, you have to have the marketing side as well. Now, I then went and launched a digital marketing agency. It's my own digital marketing agency. I co-founded it with my business partner, and we proceeded to run that, I'd say, for around about 6 to 7 years. I'm really bad with timelines, forgive me. But we got that at its maximum point at around about 3.5 million a year, and we capped down. And our structure in that business was I was all sales and marketing, they were all product and delivery. And this is where I got really good at sales and marketing because I was running all of the ads to bring in all of the leads for our digital marketing agency, and I was selling them all. And I was doing this across every niche, and we were selling, there's a typical do everything for everyone type of agency, not a great business model to scale beyond 3 million a year. And I was doing everything for everyone. So I was getting really good at sales and marketing. I got my foundation at those 2 jobs, which is a great idea, by the way, get paid to learn those 2 skills to do it for another company. Then you can go out and start your own thing. And so then I got really good at doing that because I did it across so many different industries. However, this is when I started to get into the trap that nobody fucking talks about this. I've never seen anyone, maybe a bit of Hormozi talk about this online, which is almost the entire 6 to 8 years in the agency, I just focused on how do I make the funnel better? How do I make better ad creative? How do I find that secret strategy in meta ads to blow up our business? How do I create the perfect sales pitch? And literally 6 years, I obsessed over this. And that was a problem because our business model on the back end was like a bucket with holes. Okay. So here's the lesson. Here's the secret. I'm going to tell you some more stories about this and give you some tips. So if you are really good at sales and marketing, you are like an expert at pulling water out of thin air. But then your business model, the product, yes, the product can be good, but it's not even about having a good product. It's the business model itself. Does it have an extremely high LTV through a one-off sale or through recurring revenue? Okay. That's the bucket here in this analogy. If you're really good at sales and marketing, you're like a master at fucking pulling water out of thin air. Okay. But then where are you pouring that water into? If you're pouring it into a business that doesn't have a really high LTV and recurring revenue, you're pouring all of that water into a bucket with holes. Now, obviously, if someone told me that at the time, I would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I'm sure we need to work on that and boost LTV. But if I could grab myself and fucking shake myself and slap myself now, I'd say, dude, stop it. Like, you only need to be like 60% good enough at sales and marketing. You do not need to be 99.999% mastery at sales and marketing, because I was trying to grow our business by just getting a better funnel and essentially increasing ad spend while lowering our CAC, which is cost to acquire a customer, through better ads, better converting webinars, better funnels, all that kind of stuff. However, it was never really my side of the business and the model we were in, because we're targeting SMEs, small, medium business owners, which are shit clients for digital marketing agencies. And in general, by the way, our LTV in the back end, we would have a client for 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, and then they churn and they're paying us like $2,000 a month. So like not horrific, but my skill set for sales and marketing was way out of proportion compared to the bucket I was in. Okay. And here's another expansion on that analogy for you, if you will. If you're really good at sales and marketing and you have a shit offer, okay, and a shit offer here could just be an average, mediocre offer. Everyone else in your marketplace has that offer, okay? And you can still bring in leads and make sales, right? You're like pulling water, not out of thin air. You're like pulling water out of the fucking desert, okay? You're like going to the desert, and with your skills and your knowledge and how hard you fucking work and grind, you're like siphoning water out of sand and then putting it straight into a bucket with these huge holes. Okay. So then the next business I launched was an education business. So an info product business. And again, I took my skill set and I applied it again to a business that was a huge fucking bucket with huge fucking holes in it. Okay. But we made way more money. We scaled that to $1 million a month. Okay. 10 figures a year. And I was like, okay, great. We're making way more money. And I got like a false feedback loop that because I'm applying my digital marketing and sales skill sets to a better business model, a better front end, this is the way to grow the business. Okay. But again, an information business in nature doesn't have a good recurring model to it unless you plug in something else, because once somebody buys the information, they no longer need it. Okay. So our entire business, the entire profitability of the company depended on a static LTV, right? And me consistently increasing ad spend while dropping CAC, which is exceptionally hard to do in a competitive marketplace. But because I'd been studying digital marketing and sales for like 8 years at this point, I got really good at it, and we scaled to $1 million in a month in 16 months from dead scratch. Okay. And that was really good. However, we kept running into this thing where it's like, there's always this invisible ceiling. And I was always really frustrated with it. I feel like how good our shit is, we should be making way more money. And I'd always see other business owners, their marketing was nowhere near as good as us. Their sales team was nowhere near as good as us, but they were making 3 times the revenue as us, 2 million a month, 3 million a month. I was like, fuck dude, like how are they doing this? Okay. And so the most recent business that I'm in now, I finally cracked this. I finally learned the lesson, man. That took me 10 years to learn. And that's what I'm sharing with you. So now, to go back to our analogy, I now have a business that has a recurring back-end model. When I acquire a customer on the front end, they pay us upfront, but then we have a really good recurring revenue model in the back end that compounds. Okay. And that is huge because it means that business compounds every single month. Now, that means we've plugged a lot of the holes in the bucket. So the more water I pour in, the bucket fills up. It doesn't immediately drain. And then the next month I have to refill it again with more water, more customers. Now, here is where we can take this analogy to the next level. You remember how I said, if you have a shit offer or an average offer or something that is, anyone can just say, okay, well, you look exactly like this guy. What's the difference, right? And it's not unique. You're siphoning water out of sand. Now, if you apply a unique offer, okay, something other people don't have, then you're siphoning water from a fire hydrant, okay? And water from the fire hydrant is rushing towards you. You don't need crazy skills because it's a unique and an amazing offer. Then you take that water, you put it into a bucket that has relatively few holes. Oh, no business is really perfect. Best business here is probably fucking life insurance, right? Because you're on that forever until the day you die, and then they still can try and claim it. Right? So it's probably the best business model for retention is life insurance because there's only one way to really opt out of that. Anyway, so now my sales and marketing skills, I'm applying it to a business in a much, much smarter way. And if I was a young jit, like a lot of you men and women watching this video, and you're dedicating your time, your energy, your dollars, your resources to getting better at sales and getting better at marketing, I would say that is really smart. And that is the 2 out of the 3 most important things you need to do and master to be able to make a lot of money in your business. However, young, ambitious person, you will hit a cap. I promise you. You're going to get to a point where you're optimizing that funnel for the 8th time, this 15th time. You've done 100 call reviews. You're at 200 call reviews, 300 call reviews, and you're going to get frustrated because you're putting years into the sales and marketing of your business or for a client if you run an agency or whatever. And you're going to be frustrated because you're going to hit this ceiling. I think that ceiling for service businesses, just from my experience, like the agency model is around $3 million a year. You could get that to $5 million a year, I think, if you're a little bit more of a niche agency. We were working with fucking anyone who was willing to pay us $2,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month. That's why we capped that around about $3 million a year. And then in the information business, usually I see that cap out for more standard marketing skills and coaches and stuff around 300 to 500K a month. I think it's pretty rare that I've seen info products get to 800K a month and especially $1 million. But then once they get to 800K, $1 million, or they're at 500K, but they're super, super profitable and they can scale past that, it's typically because the information product isn't their business. It's typically because they have an information product that acquires a customer and then they have a business on the back end. For example, Alex Becker did this with Hyros. A lot of you guys know this. He sold a product on the front end called Iron, which was basically a $5,000 info product teaching you how to scale info products, right? But on the back of it, he was making money through Hyros. That's actually how he started growing Hyros, from my knowledge, way back in the day. He hasn't sold that for a long time. But that was the model. And a lot of the smartest, biggest players in this game who are scaling to $1 million a month, $2 million plus, the information product is what we call a loss leader. You do that to acquire the customer, but you're not trying to make all of your money on that acquisition. And if you are, that's where you fall into the trap that I did for a decade, which is trying to become this absolute Jedi fucking master, sales and marketing guy who your entire life is sales and marketing, and you acquire the customer and then you put them into a hole with a bucket and then you just don't address it. But it took me a really long time to learn this. And now I can see it really for the first time in this business with clarity, that it's way easier. And it's, if you're good at sales and marketing and you have a product that has great recurring revenue and retention, you have a fucking superpower. The best example of this is software. Most people who have software companies are at sales and marketing, but because their product retention is so good and they're so product focused, their products can get to huge evaluations, takes some years, but just simply through word of mouth, because people use the product, it's really good, and then eventually they recommend it. So it's a very slow, gradual hockey stick growth curve. however it works for them. So that's my advice. If you like this video, click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.